Most owners who let their dog sleep in their bed have been told at some point that they should not, that it creates dominance issues, that it produces dependency, that it disrupts sleep, undermines training, confuses the dog about her place in the household hierarchy. The advice has been delivered confidently by trainers, by the internet, by well-meaning people who heard it from other well-meaning people, across a tradition of dog ownership that treated the bed as a boundary with real behavioral consequences. That tradition is not supported by the evidence, and the owners who quietly ignored it, who moved over to make room every night without knowing they were on the side that the science would eventually come down on, were closer to right than the confident advice suggested. This is what the evidence actually shows about sleep, about behavior, about the relationship, and why the conversation about dogs in beds has been framed wrong from the beginning. The dominance argument, the idea that a dog who sleeps in your bed believes herself to be your equal or your superior and behaves accordingly, is based on a model of dog social behavior that behavioral science has spent the last 2 decades systematically dismantling. The dominance hierarchy model, as applied to domestic dogs, was derived from studies of captive wolf packs, groups of unrelated animals kept in artificial conditions that bear almost no resemblance to how either wolves or dogs naturally organize themselves socially. The behaviors observed in those captive packs, the rigid hierarchy, the resource guarding, the constant social competition, are the behaviors of stressed animals in an abnormal social structure, not the behaviors of animals in functional social groups. Dogs do not operate within dominance hierarchies with their human owners. They form attachment relationships, the same class of social bond that produces secure and insecure attachment in parent-child relationships, in friendships, in any sustained close relationship between social animals. The bed is not a dominance resource. Sharing it does not confer social rank. The dog who sleeps in your bed and the dog who sleeps on the floor are not in different positions in a social hierarchy. They are in different positions in the room. The behavioral problems attributed to bed sleeping, the resource guarding, the aggression, the so-called dominance behaviors occur in bed-sleeping dogs and non-bed sleeping dogs at comparable rates. The bed is not the variable that produces those behaviors. The variables that produce them are the training history, the early socialization, and the individual temperament of the dog, none of which the sleeping location significantly affects. What the evidence does show is more interesting than the dominance argument, and it runs in the other direction. The first finding is about sleep quality, specifically about human sleep quality, and it is the one that most surprises owners who have been told bed sharing disrupts sleep. Behavioral observation of adults who sleep with their dogs has found that the majority report their sleep as undisrupted or minimally disrupted by the dog's presence, and that a significant proportion report sleeping better with their dog present than without. Not marginally better, meaningfully better, in the specific ways that sleep quality research measures time to fall asleep, frequency of waking, subjective quality of rest. The mechanism is not mysterious. The presence of a familiar, trusted companion produces a measurable reduction in the physiological markers of anxiety and stress, lower heart rate, lower cortisol, the specific downregulation of the nervous system that comes from proximity to something the body has encoded as safe. For owners whose sleep is affected by anxiety or the specific activation of lying alone in the dark, the dog's presence is not a disruption. It is a regulation. This is the piece most owners know from experience, but have been told to discount. The second finding is about the dog's experience, and it aligns with everything behavioral science has established about canine sleep and social attachment. Dogs are social sleepers. Their evolutionary history and their domestic experience both point towards sleep as a communal activity. The specific ancient architecture of an animal that slept in groups for warmth, safety, and the mutual regulation that proximity to trusted companions provides. The dog who sleeps in your bed is sleeping in the configuration her nervous system was designed for, not in a configuration that confuses her social understanding, in the one that her biology finds most natural. The dog who sleeps on the floor is not damaged by it. Dogs are adaptable, and a well-conditioned crate or dog bed is a perfectly appropriate sleeping arrangement. But the dog in your bed is not being given something that will produce problems. She is being given something that her nervous system was built to value, the specific warmth, scent, and proximity of the social partner she is most attached to, for the 8 hours of the day when her vulnerability is at its peak. The third finding is about the relationship, and it is the one that most owners feel without being able to articulate. Physical proximity during sleep is one of the most significant expressions of trust available between social animals. Not trust in the abstract, trust in the specific, physiological sense of a nervous system that is willing to be fully vulnerable in the presence of another. Sleep requires the suspension of vigilance. Choosing to suspend vigilance next to a specific individual is a statement about that individual that no waking behavior fully replicates. Long-term behavioral observation of dogs has found that dogs who sleep near their primary attachment figure show lower baseline stress indicators, more secure attachment behaviors, and greater affiliative behavior toward their owner than dogs consistently separated during sleep. The proximity is not producing the attachment. The attachment is producing the proximity preference. But the proximity, in turn, deepens the attachment through the specific repetition of shared vulnerability that sleeping together represents. The cases where the bed is genuinely not appropriate are specific and worth naming. The dog who guards the bed, who growls at the owner's partner, who positions herself between people on the bed, who shows resource-guarding behavior around access to the sleeping space, has a behavior problem that is not caused by the bed, but is certainly not helped by it. The bed guarding is the issue. The location is the venue. The dog whose sleep significantly disrupts the owner's, who moves constantly, who takes up more than her proportional space, who wakes repeatedly in ways that fragment the human's rest, is a practical mismatch regardless of the relational benefit. Sleep quality matters. If the dog is genuinely not compatible with shared sleep in practice, the floor or a dog bed beside the bed is not a rejection. It is a management choice that preserves the sleep both of them need. And the dog who has not yet learned to settle, whose early training has not included the behavioral foundation that makes shared sleep quiet and cooperative, is a dog who may benefit from the dog bed first, the human bed later, when the settling behavior is established. Most owners who have been sleeping with their dog while quietly carrying the weight of being told they should not can set that weight down. The dominance is not a concern the evidence supports. The dependency is not produced by proximity during sleep in a dog who is otherwise provided with appropriate independence training. The behavioral problems attributed to bed sharing are not caused by it. What the bed sleeping is, for most dogs and most owners, is the specific, mutual, physiologically grounded expression of an attachment that produces better sleep, lower stress, and a relationship that is deepened by the simple, unremarkable act of sharing the most vulnerable hours of the day. She is not confused about who she is in relation to you because she sleeps in your bed. She knows exactly who she is in relation to you. She is the one who chose you, and she chooses you every night by settling in next to you. And the warmth of that, the specific, reliable warmth of a trusted animal who has decided your company is the best available option for the hours when her guard is fully down, is not a problem. It never was. Do you let your dog sleep in your bed? And has anyone ever told you that you should not? Tell me in the comments. If this is the kind of watching you want to keep doing, subscribing means the next one finds you.